Hello, I am NeilReyes, and I will be presenting my case study, Immigration Centers of Virginia. In November 2021, the foreign-born population reached 46.2 million in the United States, the highest number ever recorded in American history. 14.2% of the population is comprised of immigrants, a number that has tripled since 1970. One of the largest immigration centers of the nation is Northern Virginia, or NOVA, and the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Virginia has the ninth largest immigrant population in the United States. 12.2% of this total population is comprised of immigrants, with another 11% with at least one immigrant parent. Immigration can be integral to the community and overall economy of an area as it leads to an increase of workers, business owners, taxpayers, and entrepreneurs. To ensure the large foreign-born population is maintained in Virginia, this study focuses on the significance and causes of migration. Several socioeconomic demographics are examined through regression and suitability analysis to understand the relationship between immigrants and an economy and migration. The focus of this analysis is Virginia and its large immigrant population creates a suitable candidate to analyze migration and the effect on an economy. Virginia is divided into 95 counties, along with 38 independent cities that are considered county equivalents for census purposes. NOVA, symbolized as a light red in the figure on the right, is comprised of Arlington, Fairfax, Loudoun, and Prince William counties, and the independent cities of Alexandria, Fairfax, Falls Church, Manassas, and Manassas Park. Migration centers in Virginia are concentrated in the major metropolitan areas of the state, Nova, Richmond, and Virginia Beach, with the highest concentration in Nova. As all counties a part of the region are symbolized as a dark red, indicating a foreign-born population greater than 20%. 68.1% of Virginia's foreign-born residents reside in the Nova region. Outside of the three major metropolitan areas, the foreign-born populations of Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville have grown significantly. Migration has increased all throughout the state in the past 2 decades. Almost every county has experienced growth in their foreign-born population. Since 2000, 80% of counties have experienced a growth of at least 25%, while only 10% have seen a decrease. Counties symbolized as yellow, green, and blue illustrate an increase of the foreign-born population greater than 25%. The immigrant population plays a crucial role in the economy, specifically in Nova. In 2017, immigrants contributed more than $57 billion to Nova's economy. Migrants also accounted for 34% of the region's working age population. Finally, immigrants made 59.3% of business owners in personal services like laundry, barber, and repair shops, and over 41% of business owners in retail trade. As immigration is significant to Virginia's economy, it must be made to ensure the upward trend continues by understanding the underlying factors of migration. To measure growth and perform analysis of the foreign-born population of Virginia, tables in the form of CSV files are obtained from Policy Map. Data was sourced from the United States Census Bureau, Bureau of Labor Statistics, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Department of Health and Human Services, National Center for Education Statistics, and the Internal Revenue Service. Using these government agencies as data sources provides a sense of confidence as the data has gone through multiple rounds of quality assurance and control. Census data is crucial to document the demographics of a country, and the United States Census Bureau provides the most in-depth examination of the nation's people. All tables of total population and foreign-born population range from a singular year or a 5-year span. These data sets were joined to the appropriate county and then used to calculate the percentage of the foreign-born population. A foreign-born person is defined as an individual who is not a U.S. citizen at birth. This includes naturalized U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, temporary migrants such as students, humanitarian migrants such as refugees, and persons illegally present in the United States. The foreign-born population is used as a dependent variable for analysis. The data provided from the other agencies serve as variables for the regression analysis and the criteria for the location suitability analysis. Tables focusing on economic data include estimated median household income, average annual wage, estimated percent of people unemployed, number of people unemployed, estimated percent of people in labor force, number of non-federal jobs, percent of income spent on housing and transportation, total amount of state and local income taxes, total amount of business and professional net income, and total amount of self-employment tax. These data sets will be joined to the appropriate county and then used as explanatory variables or criteria for analysis. Tables focusing on education and health include graduation rates and medically underserved areas, or MULAs. These data sets will be joined to the appropriate county and then used as criteria for the location suitability analysis. The primary facet of this research is to document the migration patterns of the foreign-born population and uncover any disparity of distribution, then to identify the differences between these regions that cause the disparity, and finally, determine the effect the foreign-born population has on a region. Following the methodology above will assist in answering the research questions and confirming the hypothesis. It illustrates the steps taken to document migration patterns, locate suitable locations for migration, and analyze relationships between the foreign-born population and Nova's economy. Suitability analysis is an approach used to identify locations that meet best established criteria for a site. There are two methods for suitability analysis: Boolean overlay and ranked. The Boolean overlay is an intersection of coded data layers using Boolean operators such as and, or, not, resulting in an overlay with areas that are true and areas that are false. For many applications, the division into two criteria or two categories of true and false, yes or no, is an inadequate representation of reality. With Boolean analysis, all influencing factors are of equal importance by definition. However, most often criteria are not equally influencing the decision. With most applications, a more precise breakdown is needed. The rank method is an intersection of standardized and differently weighted layers in a suitability analysis, with the weight that quantifies the relative importance of the suitability criteria considered. The criteria for potential sites include low unemployment rates, not a MUA, low percent of income spent on housing and transportation, high graduation rates, high average annual wages, and high median household income. These demographics are chosen to represent the major economic and social pools for migration, essentially affordable areas, areas with abundant jobs, access to healthcare, successful school systems, and an overall strong economy. The table on the left lists the criteria for the Boolean overlay method for suitability analysis. Layers were then intersected to find the suitable locations. Similar criteria were used for the ranked suitability method shown on the right. The table lists the criteria for the ranked method for suitability analysis. However, each criteria had defined levels of intervals that prioritize suitable locations. These intervals range from high to low suitability. The higher or lower the percentage or number, the better or worse. Intervals were based on current national averages. A field was added to each feature and then field calculated to introduce the rankings to their respective scheme. An overall suitability field was added and field calculated by giving weights to each of the ranks or exports. The table above lists the weight for each criteria. Demographics regarding economic opportunity were given larger weights, is the typical reason for migration. Other pools like graduation rates and access to healthcare were given the lowest weights. Many aspects of this location suitability analysis research could be adjusted and achieve varying results. This all depends on the weights given to each criteria. The Boolean method of the suitability analysis severely restricted the number of possible areas of relocation due to the number of variables. The figure on the left depicts all counties that fall within the Boolean method criteria, symbolized in green. Of the 133 counties, only 3 were suitable locations, less than 2%. The areas with the largest percent of the foreign-born population also match the most suitable counties and cities, that being Fairfax, Falls Church, and Loudoun counties, all of which are a part of the NOVA region. The rank method further expanded suitable locations at the state. The figure on the right, county symbolized as green, yellow, or red, indicate high, medium, or low suitability. According to the ranked method, there are 19 counties ranked as high or 14%, 71 ranked as medium, 54%, and 43 ranked as low, 32%. All counties of Nova were classified as high suitability. To find the correlation, to find a correlation between the foreign-born population and Nova's economy, a regression analysis was conducted. Regression analysis assists in modeling, examining, and exploring spatial relationships and explain factors behind observed spatial patterns. Using the exploratory regression tool allowed to test for all possible combinations or models of the variables. The default model criteria within the ESRI tool was used to conduct the analysis. The resulting models of the explanatory regression were then used for more in-depth analysis by ordinary least square linear regression. OLS analysis generates predictions or to model a dependent variable in terms of its relationships to a set of explanatory variables. The table shown lists the dependent explanatory variables. The foreign-born population was used as the dependent variable while economic demographics were used as the explanatory variables. The first iteration of the regression analysis included number of people employed, number of non-federal jobs, number of people in labor force, amount of business or professional net income, amount of self-employment tax, and amount of state and local income taxes. These variables represent the effect the foreign-born population has on Nova: large labor force, jobs created, business owners, entrepreneurs, and taxes paid. The results of the first iteration of the analysis provided 6 passing models. However, all variables used were considered redundant due to a high variance inflation factor. All variables had a positive relationship except for self-employment tax. As there was an abundant redundancy within the models, variables were removed one by one according to the VIF. In the final iteration, only 2 variables, number of people employed and number of people in labor force, were used to provide 2 passing models. These 2 were not only 100% significant, but also 100% positive. As the final iteration provided 2 passing models, those explanatory variables were used as the basis for the OLS analysis. Both models explained over 98% of the variation in the dependent variable. Both models are significant and effective as the joint F statistic is statistically significant, while the co-anchor statistic is not. The Harkey-Berry statistic is not statistically significant. Both models are not biased. After performing spatial autocorrelation analysis, model residuals were not spatially autocorrelated, indicating models were not misspecified. Considering the corrected Kaiki information criterion, the number of people in labor force is the better model. Regardless of the successfulness of the models, more explanatory variables should be explored to fully explain the relationship between variables and avoid the repeated redundancy. By 2065, immigrants are projected to comprise 17.7% of the total US population. They're also projected to account for 88% of the nation's population growth. Virginia is one of the largest states in the nation, which can be attributed to its large foreign-born population. In Virginia, immigrants are drawn to large metropolitan areas due to more socioeconomic advancement and opportunities. In return, immigrants bring in a large workforce, create new jobs, and pay it forward to the counties through taxes and other means. Counties in Virginia have benefited from their immigrant population as it continues to grow and attract even more immigrants, thus continuing this upward trend of this positive effect on the economy. This analysis can be used to demonstrate the importance of immigration to state and local governments. By accommodating immigrants to settle, the overall community is improved. As the foreign-born population continues to grow, it is essential to understand the motivation and the communal effects of migration. Pending any questions, this concludes my presentation on my case study, Migration Centers of Virginia.